Hello, how's it going? I'm back. But anyway, before we go a little bit more into this nice little black jewel, I really want to thank you. Number one, for watching part one to start off with in the first place. And number two, thank you for the great comments, the great feedback, and some of the great questions that I was asked after the first unboxing video. Next one is, I want to really thank you also for the likes that I received for the video, and especially all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for that, because it gives me huge encouragement knowing that, well, people are into the videos I'm making. I've never expected anyone to probably like a video produced by a small Singapore man talking about fishing reels. So thank you so much, really, thank you. It is huge encouragement. But I know, well, I can't please the whole world. Apparently some people did not like the video. Well, if you don't, it's fine. But I would really love it if you could probably just give your comments or feedback about what you didn't like about the video, so that I really want to do better. I want to improve in how the videos come out, so that, you know, it appeals to a wider variety of people. So anyway, thank you so much. Yeah. Now, before we actually delve further into this, there were a few things that I missed out in the first video because I was so nervous, you know, my first time, blah blah blah. I actually remember that I missed out two things. So one of it was I talked about showing this reel being mounted on some rods. So I took some pictures and on those rods there. I actually own some of them. And here's, well, just have a look and we'll carry on after that. Alright, I hope you got a better picture, well, of the reel mounted on rods after the pictures. Yeah. So next thing is, I think maybe this is something that some people are interested in. The old Ryogas, I believe, to access the spool, you needed to uncap this. It's like opening a cap, you know, from a bottle. But this new Ryoga, actually there's an improvement in a way, at least another extra part here. See this little thing here? So now there's a catch here. You just flip it up. Sorry, I hope you can see. Camera doesn't seem to be focusing. And then, ta-da! It's open. So it's that easy now, instead of having to, you know, twist and turn the thing. But I don't know, I think the older version might be a bit better. It's more secure when you know, turn it. This has that little clip, so one more part to worry about. And the other thing is, I wanted to show you the spool itself as well. Again, I spooled this with line, so you can't see the spool in its entirety, but here it is. This is the spool. Again, it is not SV, and well, okay, I was so busy with work, I hardly have time to do any casting, but I managed to steal about 15 minutes. I went to a very muddy place, very muddy water. Well, not the best place to cast in, so I didn't take any videos, but I just wanted to get a feel of how this spool actually performs with a couple of different weights. And surprisingly, it is very good. Really, it is. Wow, the casting is awesome. But Then some people might think, okay, so what's the difference between this and a SV spool? So this has SV spool. This is a Daiwa Steeds. It has a SV spool. So what happens is with a SV spool, supposedly you can cast a lot lighter, down to 3.5 grams. So with this, and I don't think this needs a SV spool for the fact that it is not meant for finesse. And certainly it's not meant for very, very light lures. So I actually try. I didn't go down to 7 grams, but I actually casted about 10. The lightest I tried was 10 grams. And it flew quite well. The 10 grams that I tied on, I cast it out. It didn't give me problems. No backlash. Nothing unusual, really. Okay, hang on. Let me just try and put this back. Okay, so yeah, it's back. And yeah, so if you are looking to cast light lures with this reel, I don't think it's impossible. Probably the line makes a lot of difference. You might need to tune this a little bit, the cast control. You might have to adjust the brakes here a little bit more to minimize backlash. But end of the day, I feel that this reel is really suited for lures above 10 grams. So 10 grams and above, and like the marketing that Daiwa was putting out, this is meant to be a swim bait reel. So you're supposed to be able to cast really heavy lures, probably 2 ounces, probably even 4 ounces. You can try. I've not. The heaviest I did in my 15 minutes short session was 1 ounce, 28 grams. So 28 grams, absolutely good distance. So yeah, well, I'll tell you more if I cast anything heavier after this. Today I don't want to go bantering forever like the first video. Perhaps this will be a little bit shorter, but I really wanted to bring up some of the good questions and fantastic comments that I received during the first unboxing video. Probably we can discuss them a little bit. So one of the very pertinent questions that actually arose was, is there a difference between this 1016 model and the one that is supposedly coming out, but I don't think anyone has seen it really in the flesh. I've not heard about it being out in the shops yet. The 1520 model, the slightly bigger brother. Well, differences I really think there will be, because number one, if you look at the specs on Daiwa's official website, the Japanese one, the bigger brother, the 1520 or 1520, is actually 15 grams heavier. It also has a bigger spool, and therein, instead of 16 pounds, 100 meters on mono or fluorocarbon, you can actually go 20 pounds, 100 meters on the bigger brother. And looking at past Daiwa reels, plus a 1520 is supposed to be a 150 size reel. This is only a 100 size reel, by the way. So again, 100 size reel. I certainly feel and think that eventually when it comes out, the bigger brother should be, or actually will be, bigger. And how much bigger, I don't know. We got to wait until it hits the shores or the shops. So this is the Calcutta 200. I have a feeling that it might be bigger than this fella. So I mentioned this in unboxing part 1, the Calcutta Conquest in design, in the way the engineers did the size and all. They did an excellent job. And that was way back in 2014. Imagine that. Well, hopefully the new Conquest comes out and wow, I don't know how great it will be by then. Next thing, one viewer actually asked about grinding sounds coming from his reel. So he actually shared a video with me, private video. And what happened was he was cranking this really fast. like that, something like that. And there was a pretty loud higher pitch grinding sound, sorry, that was coming out from the wheel. So one thing was, well, I was lucky when I got this. The shop that actually got it for me, they pre-service the internals. They clean it up, they eventually grease it with very high quality grease. They oil it at all the right places, and it came to me pre-serviced. So I don't experience this problem. Then one of the things that they actually showed me, actually there was a picture of it, when they opened up this fella, it was pretty dry in there. Not much grease. I don't suppose a lot of oil either. So if you get this brand new, immediately I suggest that you try and get good grease in there. The gears, they are situated here. So get grease in there, open it up, have a look. It should be dry. It should be quite dry. A little bit of good quality grease will certainly keep this fella from crying too much. So it's very smooth. In fact, the thing is, I sort of realized that the more I crank it, the smoother it gets. And I was actually told by the tackle shop that I bought it from that over time, the more I use this, it should get smoother and smoother. So that's a good piece of news. So yeah, internally dry, and you probably will need to lube it up accordingly. The one downside by having this pre-service before it came to me was then I actually have no idea, again, how the factory setting for this cast control was like. So when I went out and did a couple of casts in the span of 15 minutes, I kind of adjusted it myself to suit my casting style. I'm not a very good caster actually, so so yeah, so I did a little bit of adjustments, turning it here and there a little bit, work with the magnetic brakes here to get something a bit more optimal for me, so that I didn't get a lot of backlash, because I'm not that good at caster. I wish I'm better. Okay, so grinding sounds. Lube the reel, it should be fine. And of course, try not to do it yourself. If you actually bought it from a local tackle store, actually the first thing is to see if they can actually help you out with it. So give that a try first. And next question I actually received was whether this will make a good deep cranking reel. I suppose before I get to that, or my thoughts on it, first thing is, why did I get this model particularly in the first place? I got the 1016H. So there is a slower model. I'm sure all of you know by now. There is a 1016 no H. This is the higher speed model. Number one, I wanted to try a Ryoga. I mentioned in my part 1 that I never owned a Ryoga to this little fella. And number 2, I wanted a 100 size round bait caster. And well, for me, I'm kind of a tackle junkie. I like to try new things. So I've got the Calcutta. Actually, my first choice was to go for a 100 Calcutta in the HG speed, the high gear speed. But this came along coincidentally, so yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon. And no regrets, really no regrets. So I wanted a 100 size reel. Now, next thing is, I already have a deep cranking reel in this here, this golden baby. It's a 200 size, as I mentioned, low speed, great cranking reel. So I already have this. I don't feel that I needed another deep cranking reel. So therein, I got this 100 size round bait caster in the faster speed ratio. And is this good for deep cranks? I will let you know next week, or actually after next week. So I'm going for a trip to my neighbor, Malaysia. I'm going to a lake for 3 days. Can't wait. I'm going to hunt for giant snake heads. I'm going to try this against the giant snake heads. And yeah, wish me luck. I'm not sure if I'll get any, but I'll certainly try some big cranks on this. Definitely try some deep cranks and see how it goes when you try and bring in cranks that goes down to like 5 meters. But eventually, if given a choice, I would still go for the lower speed model, the 1016cc they call it, crazy cranker. That is the definite deep diving, slow retrieve or slow speed cranking reel. I think that will do the job superbly. This, although I feel has a wider application, again, I'm not sure if it will do very well for deep cranks, but this, with the higher gear, I feel it has a bit wider spectrum in terms of application at least. I can use this to jerk minnows, jerk baits, for example. Singapore jerker, you know. Yeah, the puns. So I suppose I can use this to jerk. I can use this for top water, you know, walking the pencils, popping some poppers, buzz baits, yeah. And well, it might serve as a mid crank reel or probably a shallow crank reel. Spinner baits, I'm quite sure this should be able to do spinner baits. So I feel that this reel, the 1016H, is bigger in application, and that was why I got this over the 1016 crazy cranker. Oh yeah, so one more thing. I think the crazy cranker, and one of our viewers actually got it shortly after my first unboxing video, hasn't got this gold accent here. So if you look at the cast control, it is rimmed with gold. So as my Intel shared, there is no gold trim around the 1016 crazy cranker, but the gold around the line guide, it's present on both models. So that's the differentiating factor between the two wheels. So I actually have a question. Now, this is stock. You know, everything is stock at the moment. Handles, the knobs, very similar to Shimano. I remember I had an Aldebaran. It's almost like the grips on the Aldebaran. So I suppose everyone is, you know, trying to get the good stuff out from one another. So my question is this, sorry, deviated. My question is this. Eventually, I might want to pimp up the reel. Yeah, that's something else that I like to do. I like to pimp the reel up. So I've got this here. This is a Daiwa SSSV. It doesn't look very SSSV now because I actually spent a lot of time and money as a project to get this fella looking a bit different than the stock SSSV. So it actually has the full works, the Daiwa SLP Stage 2 conversion kit for the SSSV with the, you know, the moon drag. I'm not sure if you can see, but moon drag. It comes, this now cast control has a click. It's no longer silent. So, well, those of you with SSSVs, I'm sure you can tell the differences. So these are all genuine Daiwa SLP parts. And I fitted a dress titanium handle to this fella. It makes it a little bit heavier, but I like the way it looks. So I was wondering, do you think that the Ryoga will look good with this gold handle on it? Thinking about moving it over or getting a separate handle for it. I feel, well, this is like a really bright gold. Let me put this away. So I've got this. This is a Magnum DC. It has the Shimano Champagne Gold. or do you think that this gold looks better on the Ryoga instead of the other gold? And I'm even thinking of putting a golden star drag to replace the all black original drag star on this Ryoga. So, well, if you can, love to hear some constructive feedback, whether I should just do some gold on this black jewel here and change the look a little bit. And for the handle, well, I've got carbon handles. So, well, you tell me. We'll see how it goes. Well, anyway, like I said, I didn't want to go too long into this video. Some of you have talked about on the water impressions. And yes, let me go for my trip first. Let me do some casts, some real proper casts from a boat next week with a couple of lure selections, and hopefully I can get a fish, a good fighting big fish or two on this fella. And then I'll come back, I'll do another video and show you how it goes on the water, and of course the casting, blah 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 blah. So stay tuned for that. And finally, before I end the video, I got a comment about, well, stirring up fuel or fire. I just want to really say that it was never intended. I have never thought of it till the comment came in that, you know, I was probably trying to get things going between Shimano and Daiwa fans. I didn't mean it. If I seem like I did, I apologize. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean it. And I felt, well, basically what I'm communicating to you watching the video is based on my personal feel of the reel, my personal impressions of the reel, and my personal thoughts on the reel. So, well, again, I like I said, I can't please everyone. But just to prove a point, I'm a tackle junkie, and I'm neither a Daiwa or Shimano one-sided thing. So if you look here, I've got the Daiwas, SSSP, Daiwa Steeds. Then on the other hand, I've got the Shimanos, Titanium DC, the Conquest, just a couple of the reels that I actually own. I have a lot more. So in time, yeah, if you want to know more or see more, I could show you more of my reels. I actually do have quite a lot. My wife is gonna kill me if she finds out the amount of money that I throw on reels and then rods, blah blah blah. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, let me just take this all out of the equation. And yes, so I'm done with the unboxing, because otherwise it will not be an unboxing anymore. It will be about impressions, it will be about performance, everything all in one. So it wasn't meant to extend this long. Thank you very much for staying this long if you're still there. So unboxing done, part 1 and part 2. And next up is, I hope to show you videos on the water, probably an impression, and we'll take it from there once we move along. So again, give me a like, thumbs up, share, or subscribe and join my channel, and really give me encouragement to do more, do better. So thank you so much. See you.